All right, we've got 10 minutes to cover off the whole subject of writing for social media. Can we do it in 10 minutes? I reckon we can. And I've got a bunch of questions we're going to ask. In fact, while I've shared this screen and you can see it, I'm going to say that we've got 6 vital questions that we need to ask. 6 vital questions. There are 5 questions. I'm going to reduce it down to 5. It was 6 and now 5. 5 questions we're going to ask that makes that writing so much easier. First of all, we're going to look at the first question that you need to ask when it comes to writing for social media. What can I teach today? What is the lesson you can teach someone in what you're about to write? Now, what does that mean? How do we take that further? We take it by saying, bringing an idea of teaching someone in our writing what people keep asking you about. That's the greatest source. In fact, I used to teach quite a while ago that posts on social media can be based around the 10 things that people keep asking you about the most, and then the 10 things that you wish people would ask you about the most. So you can answer them proactively rather than having to just have them as a as being a source of frustration for you. You can also ask what specific knowledge you have. So if there's something that you know, a learning that you have, a piece of knowledge you have, that's what you can bring in to teach. The third one, what skills are in demand right now? I know that people are crying out at the moment for one-to-one training when it comes to using ChatGPT to make their processes of writing and content creation a lot more efficient. So that's an area that I could be producing writing about right now. A tip, a trick, a hack, some kind of way to introduce a way of working that's going to be different than what they've seen before that they don't know now. Remember that just because it's obvious and old hat to you doesn't mean it's obvious and old hat to your audience. They may have no idea where to start. So basic and elementary things that you teach through your social media posts are actually a really good way to go. Then you can talk about something you learned from experience. On your journey through business, on your journey through social media, on your journey through becoming a therapist or an artist or whatever it is you have, sharing a little bit of a tip on how to overcome the common things that happen on the journey to becoming a person like you are. It's the kind of information that people are looking for. Those kind of tips and tricks and hacks, they're one thing, but real live advice that comes from your own experience, that's something special that people don't always get a chance to get. The second type of writing we're going to have is asking the question of how can I entertain you? We do know that social media is as much about entertainment as it is about anything. So if you can't entertain, then you may struggle to get into the hearts and minds of people who are reading your social media posts. For example, it could be a funny observation you've made. It could be something that you've turned into a post that you saw walking down the street this morning, or when you took the dogs down the beach for a walk. There's funny stuff happening all around us, and your ability to take that funny observation and maybe turn it into a life lesson or a business lesson can really set you apart. It could be something that made you laugh, something that someone else said that made you laugh. It could be quirky things that happen in your industry, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your town. Any of those things could be something which you can go, that's something I can draw as something funny or entertaining from. It could be the quirky things that happen in your industry, the jargon, the behavior, all that kind of thing that only happens in your industry becomes fodder for your social media posts as well. People are entertained by that, particularly if the majority of the people who are following you are in your industry as well. A relevant joke that you have to pass on. It could be a joke about how many engineers does it take to change a light bulb? How many social media managers does it take to change a light bulb? Anything like that. If it's a relevant joke that you've heard, the chances are that other people haven't heard it yet. So you've got the chance to share that. Or it could be a great video that you found. I know that a lot of Jay Shetty videos seem to get shared around the place. Simon Sinek videos as well. Brene Brown videos. They all tend to get shared around a lot. Have you come across a video that really spoke to you? Our third kind of writing is, how can I make you think today? I call this food for thought. It's going to create something that someone goes, never thought of that before. I'm thinking about it now. This is really interesting. And it could be something like an obscure fact around your industry and the work you do. Just because it's like really common knowledge to you doesn't mean it's common knowledge to your customers. And back in my radio days, we used to be told that just as you're beginning to get sick of hearing that hit song played again and again and again on the radio as a worker at the radio station, the people out there in listener land, they're just learning that song for the first time now. So just as we're getting sick of those facts, the real people out there, they haven't even learned it for the first time yet. It could be an unexpected statistic. A lot of these come up from studies from ABS data, Australian Bureau of Statistics, all those kind of things. So if you can pull out an unexpected statistic and say, hey, didn't think of it this way, did we? Or it could be a Simon Sinek style wordplay. Go and study some of the stuff he does. Like, I'm not a fan of him, but I can say that his way of taking common knowledge and the English language and being able to turn it into funny word games or lessons for living is really good. And that can be something that you could pick up as well. I find that a really good way of doing this is comparing things that were happening then to things happening now. It could be a photo of a classroom in 1954, a classroom in 2024. Something like that could help you to explain that things have changed without any words. People just piece it together themselves. Or it could be just a simple thing of how we dress for work in the 1950s to go, how do we dress for work now? And it could be asking a question of, we've got all these things going on with technology today. What's next? Anything that's thought-provoking and gets someone into their head thinking about, that's really interesting. I like following you because you make me think. And that's another purpose for having that. Now, number 4, how can I motivate you today? This is then getting into someone's feed and getting to act in some sort of way. So it could be a call to action to book or buy from you. That's the most basic of all of those. But it could be just expanding on a motivational quote. Here's a motivational quote from Lord knows who. It could be anyone that you're motivated by, and you expand on that and say something like, this is how I've approached this in my life. This has certainly been true for my life. Anything that's quite motivational, you can repurpose from somewhere else, including telling your own inspirational stories, mostly those of your stories of overcoming, how you got past a barrier, how you got past an obstacle, and how you overcame that is the hero's journey. And that's the core of storytelling across most cultures in the world. We love to see the hero overcoming and the villain being defeated. So how did that happen in your life? Who's the villain that you had to overcome to get to where you are today? And laying out a plan of action. This can be really helpful in that it helps someone to go, okay, I've got the plan of action now you've given me. Now I just got to act on it. So if you give people the information they need to act, then they're able to act, be motivated to take that next step, whether it's that next step to book you, to buy from you, to learn something, to go somewhere else, to read your blog. Sometimes it's just sending someone off to your YouTube channel. All those kind of things are appropriate as well. And our final one, how can I show you that I get you? It's all about empathy. How can we show someone that we understand the problems they're going through, that we understand the obstacles that they overcome, and they're right there beside them to cheer them on? You do this by the use of language that is very inclusive and brings someone into a bit of rapport with you. And that's as simple as starting a sentence with, I get it. So that I get it can be, I get it. It's hard to fit everything into today. And you always wish you had a virtual assistant, but you can't really afford a virtual assistant, but you need something that's going to help you with your calendar to help things just sort out right. And I could be talking about Motion, which is the artificial intelligence tool I use to help organize my calendar and get all my work done. Another way to start could be just like saying, just like you, I struggle with getting everything done. So just by doing that, you're putting yourself in the same place as what your customer is in. People like us like to think that we can get everything done, but the reality is, we could try to focus on a million things, but we do them all poorly. That immediately puts you in the same boat as the same shoes as your customer. Or it could be making someone else the villain. And this is a really interesting technique where it says, well, the gurus say that you should do this, this, and this, but we know that the real way to get through is by hard work and a little bit of persistence. So that then makes the gurus, this imaginary enemy, someone over there as the villain, and that you and your customer are the heroes together fighting the good fight as the little guys. And then something like we all have trouble with, which is saying that basically the problem they're going through is not unusual. It's not unique. In fact, it's nothing that other people haven't been able to overcome with a little bit of help as well. So that is a bunch of different ways you can start off your writing for social media, but every one of those begins with one important sentence. And that important sentence is what we call the one sentence hook. Now that is a subject for another 10 minutes because that's a great thing to go through. How to write those one sentence hooks. We'll be doing that in May. So hang around for these 10-minute super classes. We'll be able to learn stuff in 10 minutes and then get on with your day. My name's Dante St. James. Thank you so much for watching today, and you can catch this again on LinkedIn, Twitter, my YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Thank you, and have a fantastic week.